I think I'll try the flying gravity, and you can bring us down. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That is scary. No. I'm gonna take the stairs. Yeah, I'm not going to be just jumping off of craziness. I'm not built like that. Look, now that we are on solid ground again, I will gladly tell you that my father never threw me into the water and expected me to swim. I had swim lessons. I did not dive headfirst into danger. That's not how I was raised. I had the privilege to grow at my own pace. And that is why, when Elphaba held that broom out to Glinda, and Glinda backed away, I felt that in my core. I understood that pain of wanting to make change, of wanting to be brave, but realizing that this in front of you, it's just not your path. I've always admired the characters who stand on the edge. Not the ones who jump. Not the ones who take the spotlight with no hesitations. But the ones who watch. Who wait. The ones who understand that a leap would actually cost. The ones with their eyes wide open. I've always known that that kind of character shaped my writing. Because as a reader and a watcher, I always knew that if my time came to stand at the edge of that cliff, I wouldn't jump because I didn't have to. Whatever I was running from never seemed as frightening as the leap itself. So I'd stay. I'd take the stairs. I'd take the long way to the top. I learned at a young age that if I had to fall in order to fly, then I'd rather walk. For a long time, I thought that something was wrong with me because I didn't want to take the leap. But characters like Glinda made me realize that I wasn't wrong. Glinda is misunderstood because she doesn't move in the same way that we expect our heroes to move. She isn't Elphaba. She isn't loud in her defiance or reckless in her ambitions. She doesn't burn the system down with fire. Instead, she learns to navigate it from the inside. Through her, I realized something important. That the characters who don't leap still have a place in the narrative. When I began writing Blue Lights, I immediately knew who my main character was. Major. He was proud, confident, dynamic. He carried the momentum of the story with him. His life demanded attention. He pulled the world towards him and was forced into growth, whether he was ready for it or not. Major was the center of my narrative, but I didn't want him to tell the story. That is where Dante comes in. Dante begins the story as Major's best friend. He sees Major for all of his best and all of his worst moments. Or most of his worst moments. He stands close enough to the action to feel the heat, but not so close that it consumes him. Dante wasn't forced into growth due to tragedy. Nothing forced his hand. He wasn't running from pain. He was just standing next to it. And if Major had told this story, Dante would have just been a supporting character, forced to the background, quieter, present, orbiting something that was too bright. But Dante's role in the story matters because most of us are not living the action-filled lives. We don't all command the spotlight. We don't all leap first. But we all know what it feels like to stand next to somebody who does. What Dante and Glinda share isn't hesitation. It's a lack of urgency. Neither of them are forced to change right away because neither of them are suffering. They lived cushioned lives. They are loved. They have resources. They have support. They exist inside of a bubble that protects them from the kind of pressure that demands immediate transformation. And that matters. Because growth born from safety looks different than growth born from survival. Their lack of urgency isn't laziness. It isn't fear. It's insulation. They're in a bubble. And they know this. But bubbles aren't permanent. Eventually, Dante and Glinda outgrow the spaces that once kept them safe. The protection that sheltered them before just starts to feel limiting. That comfort that helped them starts to press in until it feels suffocating. Growth becomes inevitable. Not because the world is cruel, but because they're ready. They know when it's time for their bubbles. And only then can they learn to fly on their own. This is where my writing philosophy lives. Not in choosing one kind of character over another, but in making space for more than one way to grow. I don't believe that characters who grow through drama are wrong or excessive. Those stories matter. They always have. Characters shaped by adversity hold truths that deserve to be told. But they are not the only truths. Some people are loved before they are tested. Some people are safe before they ever have to be brave. And that doesn't mean that their journeys are smaller or less meaningful. It just makes their journeys different. When I write characters like Dante, or when I look at Glinda with care, I'm not elevating them above the characters who leap first. I'm standing beside them. I'm saying that growth born from safety, and growth born from adversity can coexist, and both deserve narrative weight. And that matters for readers, for the ones who wait, for the ones who watch, for the ones who take the long way around. You are not behind, and you are not afraid. You are not lesser because you didn't leap. The character who didn't leap still deserves the chance to fly. Characters who don't leap right away, they aren't avoiding growth. They're just growing in a space that allows them time to figure themselves out along the way and allows them to reflect. That installation buys some time. Time to feel. Time to observe. Time to understand themselves better before they act. That kind of growth is quieter, slower, less visible. But it's still growth. And when those characters finally step out of that bubble that once kept them safe, when they finally take that leap, it isn't reckless or overdue. It's intentional. It's informed. And it's honest. Glinda's story matters. Glinda's story matters because it reminds us that becoming isn't always loud. That courage doesn't always announce itself. That some people change, not by burning everything down, but by holding power gently until they are ready to use it well. Man, we should really think about copywriting the word good.